time for me to build a new rig. I'm using a Corsair C70 Vengeance case. I've decided on that one because it's nice and big, but not ridiculously big like a 900D or something like that. And I want to mod this one, so I'm going to be hacking into it with a Dremel, and I'm going to try and fit two AX360 radiators into it. I'll rip it out of the case in a second and show you how I plan on doing that. And I've also got a AX860 for the power supply. They're the only parts I've got at the moment, except for the graphics cards, which are GTX 780s, which are in my old rig at the moment. So as soon as I get this rig up and running, those will go in that. Motherboard I haven't decided on yet, but anyway, we'll sort all that in a second. Let's open it up and see how I'm going to go about this. Okay, so here's the case out of the packaging. I actually really like this one. It's got carry handles on the roof, which actually make it a lot easier to move around. I like that. I was actually going to remove them, but I think I'm going to keep them. They've sort of gone for a military theme, so it's like opening an old ammo container to get the side panels off. And the military theme sort of carries around with your little flip up reset button, which I'm probably going to get rid of anyway. And the other side, just a solid panel. That's pretty much it. I'll take the side panels off and we'll have a look inside. Okay, so here's the side panel. These are notoriously easy to change to a solid window. It comes with this sort of terrible dual fan on it, which covers up half the stuff inside the PC that you want to show off anyway. It's simply a matter of undoing some screws, cutting a new piece of acrylic to the same size, and drilling the holes and bolting it in. So that's notoriously easy. Obviously with the toolless removal, so there's no screws you need to remove to get rid of them. I am not actually sure what I'm going to do with this. I may just replace that for a clear piece without the fan holes, or I was even thinking I might cut along here, sort of a bit wider, and go around that there to make it a larger window and something a bit different, because everyone with a C70 sort of has. Just change that out for something different. At the bare minimum, I'm probably going to get rid of this frame and I'll have some nice chrome bolts around it or something. I'll see how I go with that later. It's on the last thing to do. Okay, so here's the case itself. Wait for it to focus. There we go. Case inside. This one I got second hand from eBay for a pretty decent price from a bloke off another forum. So it actually does stock. It doesn't come with this many fans. These are just the stock Corsair ones he's put in it. So I've got, what have I got, 6 in here. I think it only normally comes with 3, 1 in the back and 2 in the front. Alright, it's pretty self-explanatory really. 5.5 inch bays, your toolless drive bays. These are all modular, so you just undo the screws and they slide out. The whole unit slides out. Alright. I'm now going to break it down and I'll see how it looks. Okay, so there's the front panel removed. I was actually thinking that was going to be one piece sort of onto the front, but it's not. It's got its own little... I don't know if I'm going to use that. That's actually a really good idea to have it like that. So I was actually going to remove this whole thing and maybe put my own buttons in these corners or something. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. One thing I am very happy with is the huge amount of room in it. You can see it's going to be very easy to mount another fan up there. So the plan is I'm going to have a 360mm mounted in the front and a 360mm mounted in the roof. The two AX360s. I'm going to remove these drive bays, which actually look very easy. It looks like it's just riveted in, so all I have to do is drill these rivets. And there's some more rivets up in the top there. And hopefully that whole 5.25 inch bay will come out, because I'm not going to use it because it's 2013. Who uses optical drives anymore? And these are coming out as well. So basically I'm going to have the hole inside is going to be clean. I'm going to take a Dremel to all these little knobs that stick out, and I'm going to have one piece of white acrylic to make the hole inside of it clean, if you get what I mean. Then the plan was to backlight that piece of acrylic with LED strip white. So I'm sort of going for a completely clean white inside, almost surgical sort of look. That's what I'm going for anyway. I'm thinking I'll cut the acrylic just to the size of the motherboard, and then I'll have the back of the motherboard lit, so that you sort of got this white glow coming from behind the motherboard. Obviously all this is going to be gone, and there's going to be a 360mm rad in the front there, and a tube res in here. I'll probably do a white acrylic base as well. I don't know, I'll see how I go. I don't have any drawings or renders or anything like that. It's all just going to be winging it pretty much. Right. Oh, the other thing, this front panel is completely all metal. It's one solid piece of metal, so I was pretty impressed with that. It's very sturdy. With this, obviously I'm going to have a 360mm rad in the front, so that's going to be gone. I'm going to cut this out and use another piece of mesh, so the mesh will probably go all the way. I did intend on removing that as well, just having the whole thing as mesh with the buttons either in the corners here or coming through. I haven't decided yet. I'm not really sure if I like these. Obviously they made it sort of try to look military, like an ammo tin or something, but I'm not sure if I like that. I don't think it really goes with it, so I'm either going to grind them off, fill them and repaint it, or if I leave them, I'll try to incorporate a bit more circles into the design, if you know what I mean. So rather than have this whole thing mesh, I might actually use acrylic and cut 3 fan holes in it, so the circles sort of go in with grills over them, or I don't know. I'll look into that later. But first things first, I'll worry about the case. I'll worry about this bit later. It shouldn't be very hard to. Oh yeah, it comes with a removable fan filter too, so I don't know how this comes out. Oh yeah, righto. So it should be pretty easy just to Dremel slice that out. It's pretty thin. Yeah, oh, and that's actually a piece of the metal. I was thinking that was removable like these, but it's not. I don't know. I'll worry about that later. Okay, so here she is, completely broken down. Well, as much as you can do with a screwdriver without starting to drill rivets anyway. This one obviously came with 6 fans, but as I stated, that's because I bought it second hand off eBay and he threw those in for me. I think it normally comes with 3. That's your I/O. I don't know whether I'm going to use this or not. I was going to buy my own and sort of find somewhere else to put it on the case, but we'll see how that goes. I was actually thinking, I was actually going to plan on mounting them up the top here because I like having top mounted I/O, but if I'm going to chuck 2 360mm rads in it, I don't think I'm going to have space up there. Comes with the 3 dust filters. 2 of them go on the bottom, 1 of them in the front panel. Top's obviously supposed to be exhaust, so they say you don't need a dust filter. I don't think my bottom is going to be an inlet anyway, because I don't know, I'm still debating whether to put a rad down there. I'm not going to push pull, so there'll be a bit of room here, and I've got an AX, there's an AX 860, so it's a relatively short modular power supply. If I get the fuck down, you little fucker. Tossing up whether to put a 120mm down there, the same AX 120 by XSPC, so it matches my white sort of setup. I could even go another 120 here. It's going to be running nothing crazy, just the CPU and 2 GTX 780s in the loop. It'll be one loop, not separate loops for the CPU and GPU. That's your drive caddies. I'm not using them. I'm going to stealth up an SSD, probably behind the motherboard tray, and all the rest of my storage I'm going to have externally. So, well, for now, I don't know. I might try and stealth up a 2TB drive or something in there just for shits and giggles, but I'll see how I go. And I've already discussed what I'm going to do with that front panel. But for now, I'm going to bust out the power drill, and I'm going to see if I can remove this 5 1/4 inch bay without having to strip it completely down. Just by a quick glance, I don't think I'll have to. I prefer not to have to take the top off and do any re-riveting, but Nah, if I have to, I have to. Alright, let's try that. Another thing I wanted to mention is these rubber grommets. Pretty much all the rubber on this case, including these little ones that go where the fan is as you can see by my fingers, all you have to do is rub it and you get that. With that, clean finger, black finger. I've read it on a couple of forums, and the first builds that Corsair did of these, they had a problem with the rubber grommets. Not an issue for me because I'm not going to be using these things anyway, but I've been told on the forums that all you have to do is do a support ticket with Corsair and they will send you out a full set of rubber grommets. All the rubber for the whole case will be set to you in a package, and it'll be the new stuff that doesn't do this. Obviously, if you're doing a white on black build like I am, if I had that on my hands and now touched my powder coated white radiators, I would never get that stuff off. So something to be wary of if you've got a C70.